This video is a continuation of Fortinac demo and configuration. So we'll be looking at device profiling rules, how it can be configured, so you can have enough visibility and identify devices in your environment, from rogue devices to registered devices, and you can easily place them in the network policies for controls and visibility. Device profiling rules are essential in network security for identifying and managing um, device connected to a network. And these rules would help to be able to ensure that each device is appropriately monitored and controlled. They are used to evaluate and classify rogue devices on Fortinac, and you can also configure profiling rules to automatically, manually, or through sponsorship evaluate and classify unknown untrusted device as they are identified and created. So the device profiling leverages rules comprising classification settings and methods used for evaluation. And Fortinac uses these rule methods to evaluate devices to test for a pass or fail results. If all selected methods result in a pass result, then Fortinac applies the rule-defined classification setting of device type, grouping, and attribute values. So when we go to um, checking this, so in assessing the device profiling rules, you come to user and host, then click on device profiling rules. If you followed the demo, the playlist that I've done a lot of demo on that, on visibilities, modeling your devices and all that, and creating your architecture for your environment. So if you look at this rule, we have rules that are ranked from 1 to 18, and for us to be able to identify devices, IoT devices, normal devices, IT devices, and all that, these rules help to be able to collect information needed to identify each of the devices in your environment. So for us, there are different methods at which information can be collected using device profiling rules to identify your device and also to appropriately place them in the network they belong. So let's check this out. Let's modify this. So under modify, we have general. Under this tab, we have general and method. So under method, we have different ways at which information can be collected from your device to be able to ensure that Fortinac recognizes them and is able to place them to where they belong. So we have active. This video might not be concise enough to explain all this method. I urge you to visit www.training.fortinac.com, then take the self-paced training on Fortinac to check all this out. But in regards, we have DSP printing, network traffic, and vendor UI. If you look at each of these method, these are viable ways of collecting information. DSP fingerprint ensures that the information from your as your DHCP server is giving out IP addresses to the client, Fortinac will be able to also collect some level of DHCP information from those devices, and through that it can be able to recognize those devices and also register them based on the policy we would put in place. We have active IP range, location, vendor UI. The vendor UI has to do with getting the vendor code for each of the model of, or for each of the model of the devices you have in terms of OEMs and manufacturer of those devices. So let's say you have Cisco devices, Fortinet devices, D-Link, and all that. The first three the first three octet number will be registered here to be able to recognize the vendor of those devices. We have network traffic. So these are different methods to collect information and all that. Then under this general, you have to name the device profiling rules based on the device you're profiling. So we have Ubuntu clients, like Linux servers here. Then you can either so the essence of using device profiling rule to evaluate each device and be able to classify their state, whether they are rogue device or they are devices that should be registered on your network. So each at first, when devices connect to your environment where Fortinac is present, all devices will be seen as rogue until they are appropriately profiled. So as this is the device profiling rules that you set that will profile each of those devices based on what you've configured or what you've configured here. So you can notify sponsors as soon as a client connected to your environment to either register the device manually or not. So here we have registration method as automatic and manual. You can automatically register devices as soon as you collect their information based on all these methods. Then we have type of device that's you want to profile, whether Linux, firewall, gaming devices, IDS, and all that. You have to have device profiling for each of these type of devices, so that Fortinac will be able to recognize them and profile them accordingly. This rule also can be the functionality of the device. Is it a bring your own device, a type of device, or is it a contractor device that is that is associated to either a guest or a contractor, or is it a corporate machine device that is allocated to your staff and all that, or guests and all that. So you have to define the role of that device here. BYOD is selected. Then you can place them in a group or not. Access availability might be specific time or always. Then we have rules confirmation settings, which has to do with the rules you want to enforce for this type of device that's connecting to your environment, whether confirm device rule on connect or any of the. So as soon as all this is set up and every other configuration from the initial configuration that we had in other videos, so this will ensure that as soon as this type of device connects to your environment, you are able to, is able to get an automatic registration in your environment. So one of the things we will do is just to run the rule. Right click, just click on it. Then it is enabled. Then we can run. So once you run this, it will evaluate that rule with the devices in your environment and place them accordingly. So this is how you would know that a device has been profiled properly. When you go to profiled device and you select the updates, and you can see that a device has been profiled accordingly. So we have this role as BYOD, the type as Linux server. So as soon as this is identified, you will see the icon of the Linux present there. Then you see the whole name. The whole name of the device or of the profiling rule that we use is this Ubuntu client NetFlow OS and vendor OUI. We can see the MAC address, location, FortiGate, and all that. So with this, you can appropriately use your network policy, community policy and object, network access. So the network access rule, the device profiling will automatically help you, will be attached to your network access policies here, and you can easily place them in the network access. So the network access rule defines what the BYOD users would have access to. So with this, you can set up your network access. Name is then the user and profile will state, also gives that visibility into the user, and the user host profile also gives the criteria at which what the servers or the user should be doing. So you come to this and users, device types, and Linux and all that. So with this network access rule that is in place, the BYOD users with the Linux servers has been identified, and they will be placed accordingly to the network access configuration of BYOD that they belong to. So that's the only network that the BYOD users, based on the device profiling rule that has been configured, would have access to in your environment. And you can see that if you come to um, network inventory, then you log into inventory, then you check your switch that has been configured. We can easily identify this as a registered host. So you see that this device has been registered with this information as wired with this information. Then we have seen that this device has not yet been profiled already, and that's why we can see it as a rogue host. So that's the essence of device profiling rule, to differentiate your rogue devices from the registered devices and to be able to identify them appropriately.